Let's go to London now and catch up with the editor of Spiked Online, Brendan O'Neill. Great to catch up with you, Brendan. Going back to the earlier part of that interview, I think you got to hear it. You must be staggered. I know you've been very critical with us and elsewhere about the overbearing rules and restrictions on the coronavirus in the UK. You must be staggered at the way Australian states are behaving with next to no infections to worry about.
It's crazy from my perspective. I can't believe what's happening in Australia. As you say, a very low number of cases, certainly in comparison to countries like the UK and the US. But the most extraordinary authoritarian measures, border closures, a curfew in Victoria. Lots of people outside of Australia are quite staggered about what's going on there. And I think Australia needs to think about how to protect its civil liberties, even as it tackles the few cases of COVID-19 that it has.
Absolutely spot on. Tell us about how the UK is opening up and also what Boris Johnson is doing at the same time to tighten your international borders.
Yeah, so we have opened up. People have been encouraged to go back to work. Shops and restaurants and pubs are open again. But, life here is still very quiet. I was on the tube this morning. Usually there was standing room only on the tube in the old days. Now you can easily get a seat. There's loads and loads of spare seats. Life hasn't come back to normal by any stretch of the imagination, which is incredibly worrying because I think the people underestimate how much the lockdown is going to plunge the UK and other countries into a severe recession. There will be lots of job losses. There will be other impacts too. We know that lots of normal health treatments in the UK were called off during the COVID pandemic, which means that cancer wasn't treated. People died from heart attacks and strokes where they otherwise might not have. So there's going to be a lot of blowback from the lockdown. And I think rather than overreacting to occasional spikes in COVID-19, which we've had in the UK over the past few weeks, we have to now think about mitigating the impact of the lockdown and ensuring that normal life and the economy can get back to normal as soon as possible.
Well, I think these government subsidies by the UK government, the Australian government and others are a problem because they've kind of conditioned the public to think that they can beat this thing, not work, and there's no downside, and the downside's going to be massive. I do want to get your thoughts on Tony Abbott's. It's not been confirmed yet, but it seems certain he's going to get a job promoting British trade. Unusual, given he's a former Australian Prime Minister. But one of the good aspects of that is he'll strike a deal between the UK and Australia. But have a look at the criticism he's come in for. I showed some last week. This is more recent. This is Caroline Nokes, who's a Conservative MP, having a go at Tony Abbott's appointment.
He's a misogynist. He has very poor views on LGBTQ rights, and I just don't think this is a man who should be anywhere near our Board of Trade.
It's just open season on him, Brendan, regardless of the facts.
Completely regardless of the facts. The reaction from some people on the left, and particularly the Labour Party, and as you said, some Conservative MPs too, the reaction to the rumour or the reports that Tony Abbott's going to get a role has just been staggering, and they've just been lying about him, to be perfectly honest. They've been calling him a misogynist, someone who is against LGBT people. Basically, this hateful pro-Trump idiot is essentially how they're referring to him. Just this very rash response. The truth of the matter is I've interviewed Tony Abbott before, and I think he's far cleverer and more politically sensitive than many British politicians, including many Labour politicians. So I think the reaction is very interesting. I think the thing that they really dislike about Tony Abbott is that he's pretty tough. He doesn't take no for an answer, and he has said openly that he thinks a hard exit from the EU or a no-deal Brexit is not something that we should be afraid of. And of course, the left in the UK, and the Ramona left in particular, is adamant to prevent a no-deal Brexit because they want to keep us tied to European Union rules and regulations. So the reason it's open season on Tony Abbott is because they're worried that he will break us off from the EU properly, or at least help to, and that's something that they really don't want to see.
Ramona, such a beautiful expression. Thanks for joining us again, Brendan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Brendan O'Neill there, live from London. Now,